You're watching NNN, or New Nintendo News. This is a gaming show where we keep you up to date with the latest Nintendo-related gaming news. Yeah! And sometimes we also cover PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Yeah, we do. On today's show, yes, it's an absolutely bumper-packed show we've got coming in store for you today, guys. Yes, we will be taking a look at Nintendo's latest financial report, because let me tell you something, they've been making money! Susie, you better help me pick up all this money at the end of the show, man. And don't be stealing any, because last time we did this, you stole a $5, man. We'll also be taking a look at Mortal Kombat. Yeah, there's a bit of Mortal Kombat news that we want to talk about. Mortal Kombat! And we'll just be taking a look at a few other stories that we'll just be scattering throughout the show. Wait, before the show starts, if you do like this video, make sure to give me a like, and if you really like the video, subscribe. Yeah, just subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Back with the news, guys. Kicking off our first story, let's look at the latest Nintendo financial reports, because it looks like Nintendo have no signs of slowing down, let me tell ya. So Nintendo have announced their results for their quarterly financial earnings, and let me tell you, Nintendo have got some stuff to be proud of. There's a lot of little pieces of interesting information that I'm just going to throw out at you right now. But I mean, yeah, Nintendo are doing fantastically well. Nintendo Switch console sales are going through the roof. Nintendo are smashing it, doing in the competition, mate. Best-selling console of 2021, dominating Japanese charts, dominating UK charts, dominating the American charts. Let's have a look. Let's have a look and see what's going on. Yes, earlier on this week, Nintendo announced the latest figures for their Nintendo financial reports, and let me tell you, it looks pretty impressive, to be honest. It looks pretty glowing. First off, we have fantastic news, guys. Nintendo Switch has sold over 100 million units! Get in there, lad! Ship those consoles, Nintendo, let me tell you. Yes, Nintendo have sold 103 million units. From since 2017, it has now surpassed the total lifetime sales of the Nintendo Wii console, and get this, guys, it's beat the original PlayStation 1. Oh yeah, take that, Sony. And so it looks like over the last 9 months, Nintendo have shifted 11.79 million consoles of the OG Nintendo Switch. The Switch OLED, which only launched in October, has already sold a staggering 3.9 million units. Wow! Susan, can you go and check my Nintendo account, please? And see whether Nintendo refunded my money. Because I ordered a Switch OLED online, and they never delivered it. And DPD wanted to tell me that they sent it back to Nintendo. Oh, now I'm still waiting for my money back. And the Switch Lite is trailing behind, selling 3.17 million units over the last 9 months. So it looks like the Switch OLED is off to a blinding start. So yeah, I mean, as it stands, Nintendo Switch has sold 103 million units. You've still got a long way to go, Nintendo, to beating PlayStation 2. 155 million units. Can we do that? Can we beat that figure? Can we actually? I think we can. Whether Nintendo can sell 155 million units all depends on the game's lineup. It all depends on what games are coming out over the next 2 to 3 years. But before we get to that, let's have a look at the top selling Nintendo Switch games of all time currently. Let's have a look at that, because I tell you, some of these numbers are ridiculous. Oh my days. Nintendo are just shifting units. Money! Nintendo have also released the latest figures for their best-selling Nintendo games of all time, and let me tell you, some of these numbers are staggering. Some of them are making me feel sick. I mean, at number 1, you have Mario Kart Deluxe. Please stop buying it. Stop buying Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 is still the best-selling Nintendo Switch game of all time, despite the fact that it's an 8-year-old game. Yes. People are still buying it. Nintendo won't bring out another Mario Kart until people stop buying it. And it is on 43.35 million units sold. Ridiculous. And moving down the list, you've got Animal Crossing, the absolutely addictive life sim that has just shot back up in play count hours on my Nintendo Switch, because the DLC that came out for it the other day is absolutely fantastic. Designer Happy Home Paradise or whatever it's called. Oh my days. Anyway, yeah, you get distracted. So yeah, you got Animal Crossing at number 2, selling a 37.62 million units. Animal Crossing's actually kind of slowed down in sales. I'm pretty sure the game sold like 32 million units in its first year. But as you can see, over the next year, it's only gone up by 5 million. It looks like Animal Crossing shot its load in its first year. Whereas Mario Kart, bloody hell, 38 million. How many copies is that? 38, 39, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 million copies! Mario Kart shifted 7 million copies in 9 months. After it's already been out for 5 years. It's not slowing down. Anyway, going down the list, you've got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 3rd place, selling a combined total of 27.40 million units. These games are shifting numbers, mate. Breath of the Wild, 25 million. So I mean, that game's still going. Then in 5th place, we've got Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yes, selling 23.9 million units. And then going down the list real quick, you got Super Mario Odyssey selling 23 million units. Super Mario Party selling 17.39 million units. You've got the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games at 14 million. You've got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, 13 million. Wow. They only got released in November and they've cracked the top 10 already. And rounding off that top 10 chart, you've got Ring Fit Adventure, which, I mean, I've got Ring Fit Adventure and I played it once, to be honest. I got sucked in during the pandemic, thought I wanted to do exercise, never actually even ended up using it. But yeah, look, that sold 13.53 million units. To be honest, I never expected it to be this well, but yeah. Ring Fit Adventure. Where's Metroid? One game franchise that is sorely missed from this top 10 is Metroid Dread. Yeah, Metroid Dread made its triumphant return in bloody October last year. One of the best games in the entire series. It was a franchise highlight, and I can't see in this top 10. How many copies did it sell? We're gonna find out now. I need to find out. Bloody hell. Metroid Prime only sold 3 million units. In the grand scheme of things, that is small fries. I've just been reading out numbers upwards of 30-40 million. I mean, yeah, for me, these sales numbers are very disappointing. 3 million units? I mean, it's not even 3 million units, it's 2.74. Metroid Dread only sold 2.74 million units. That's really depressing. High quality, beautiful game. Nintendo put a lot of effort into it. They put a lot of marketing into it. It coincided with the launch of the Switch OLED. And this is all it could muster. 2.74 million units. So yes, it looks like it was another strong quarter for Nintendo. Nintendo absolutely dominated the gaming space in 2021. It was the best-selling console in all 3 territories. It had some of the best-selling games of the year in all 3 territories. Nintendo Switch is doing phenomenally well. Moving on to our next story, Mortal Kombat! Anyway, Mortal Kombat, yes! Mortal Kombat's back in the headlines again because Hollywood have just greenlit the sequel to the movie. Yeah! Mortal Kombat the movie 2's coming out!
Flawless victory.
They didn't even put the Mortal Kombat tournament in the first movie. They left it for the second one. Very presumptuous that they were going to get greenlit for a sequel. But yeah, anyway. So reading an article on Deadline, it says, New Line is getting back into a fighting stance on a sequel to Mortal Kombat! The action-adventure film based on the blockbuster video game franchise. The studio has hired Jeremy Slater to write Mortal Kombat 2. I mean, the first one did pretty well considering it released in the pandemic. I mean, it did well at the box office. Do we have any numbers? Bill, do you have those numbers for me? Do you have the box office numbers? 23. Mortal Kombat made 23 million at the box office on its opening weekend. What was the worldwide total, Bill? Give me the numbers. $83 million worldwide. The original film, to be fair, it was okay.
It's still good enough for me.
it could have been better. If you're a Mortal Kombat fan, it was worth watching. It's one of the better video game film adaptations out there. So yeah, the new Mortal Kombat movie's coming out. That's all it was really. Roll on the sequel. It's coming out next year. Amazing. Mortal Kombat! Moving on to our next story. Acquisitions. Bill, why are we talking about acquisitions again? We literally spoke about it the other day, Microsoft. Which means Sony's brought someone now. Who? Bungie. It's getting ridiculous, this. Yes, earlier on last week, or maybe even the week before, but this is old news, Bill. So yes, it looks like Sony have bought the games development studio Bungie for the tune of $3.6 billion. This is, I'm getting scared now. I'm getting scared. A lot of companies are buying up all the games developers at an alarming rate, and I'm scared. Yes, the studio behind some of gaming's most critically acclaimed first-person shooters, Halo and Destiny, have been snapped up. Yeah. Although why Sony have chose to do this makes no sense to me. This deal here, it stinks of desperation. They've already gone on record to say that they don't intend to keep their games platform exclusive. So you'll be seeing Destiny on Microsoft consoles. I mean, if Hell freezes over a Nintendo one, that's not going to happen. And they literally make one game, Destiny. Sony are just grabbing at straws here. Clutching at straws. Why did Sony buy this company? It's like Sony felt left out, so they just thought, you know what, we just need to buy someone to stay in the headlines this week. Money, 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 money! I don't really get it. Bungie don't make any Halo games anymore. You've literally just bought a developer for no reason. Sony were in the boardroom panicking. Who do we buy? Who do we buy? Who do we buy? I don't know, Bungie? $3.6 billion for a developer that makes one game is a bit much for me. That's where yeah, you just wanted to buy someone. You just wanted to be in the headlines this week, didn't you, Sony? It's alright, calm down. You'll get your time. So just reading a quick article here, Jeff Keighley, the head honcho of the Video Game Awards and, you know, just all-round internet personality, he tweeted that he's heard from multiple people that there are a few other big video game deals in final stages of negotiations. He said it's going to be an interesting year. So yeah, Jeff Keighley's implying that more video game developers are going to be snapped up this year. And like I said, I'm freaked out. I mean, for me now, this is how I see it. These acquisitions are coming in thick and fast, but who is monitoring it? Who is monitoring it? Who's watching the market to make sure that none of these companies get a monopoly? Who's doing that? Do we have this? Is it in place? So we've been looking on Twitter, and a Twitter user by the name of Patrick Lum created this infographic, and it shows like all mergers and acquisitions that have been made by Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Now the graph is a bit overwhelming, but have a look at this graph. So look, you've got Bethesda up here and all the game studios that Bethesda have ever owned. Look how many studios are integrated into the Bethesda timeline. But then that just gets sucked into Microsoft. Over here you've got Blizzard and Activision just getting sucked into Microsoft. Vivendi getting sucked into Microsoft. Microsoft own all these game developers. If you look very closely over here, you can see the point in time when Microsoft acquired Rare. Yeah, it's very painful for me. Anyway, moving on. Let's have a look at what Sony's infographic looks like. Can we get that next slide, Bill? Bill, can you put the next slide on, please? So as you can see with Sony has maintained, you know, over the years they've had a few acquisitions, a few mergers going into the Sony timeline, but you can really see that it's not until, you know, the mid-2020s when they start really acquiring some studios. But yeah, look at Sony's there. Sony's is alright. Let's have a look at Nintendo's. Look at this. Look at Nintendo. Nintendo do not buy anybody. Nintendo haven't bought anyone for the longest time. Let's have a look. You've got Retro Studios, producers of Metroid Prime, which oddly enough, you know, you use them for Metroid Prime, and then we've not really seen much after Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. We didn't see much from Retro Studios. You've had them from since early 2000s, and we've had 6 games from them. Really? As you can see, they have purchased Monolith Software, the developers of Xenoblade, and then the other day they brought Next Level Games, the developers of Luigi's Mansion. And that's it. That's it. This is bare bones. There's nothing on there. Nintendo don't buy nobody. So let's just take a quick look at some third-party developers and publishers that Nintendo possibly, potentially, are suited for. Hello, Bill. Nintendo have just released a statement about an acquisition. Get it up, get it up, get it up, get it up, get it up. What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? Breaking news, guys. Nintendo's just commented on whether they will be acquiring any third-party developers in the future. This is it, guys. Let's read the article. So, reading the article on Nintendo Life, it says Nintendo says it won't compete with Microsoft and Sony in the acquisitions arms race. Reading the article on Nintendo Life, it says Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has stated that the company won't be looking to buy up external publishers and studios in the same way that Microsoft and Sony have. Furukawa went on to say, our brand was built upon products crafted with dedication by our employees, and having a large number of people who don't possess Nintendo DNA in our group would not be a plus to the company. Moving on to our next story, just a very quick one. It's about Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Yes, because whilst we wait for Capcom to officially announce the next Resident Evil remake,
Resident Evil 2.
Some people are saying it is Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4.
I'm personally waiting for our Switch exclusive Resident Evil. Capcom's still waiting for that game. Where is it? Where is our exclusive Resident Evil Revelations 3?
Resident Evil Revelations.
Give it to us.
Resident Evil.
But I mean, while we wait for that to happen, someone actually decided to remaster the original Resident Evil 4. Some fans online have decided to remaster Resident Evil 4 themselves. We're going to read a quick article here because this is some dedication here. It says almost 8 years in the making, Resident Evil 4 HD project was a massive undertaking that saw its developers scour texture libraries and stock photo galleries for the original materials Capcom used to make the game's textures in the early 2000s. Now this is the part that's blowing me out off. The article then goes on to say that when these guys failed to find those textures in game, they travelled to locations in Spain and Wales where Capcom itself sourced textures to take photographs of their own. The guys flew to Spain to take photos of textures to go and put them in Resident Evil 4. That's dedication, that. I'm sorry. I can't get over that. Who does that? It says since 2014, the two main developers spent a combined 12,810 hours and over $15,000, all of which was recouped and then some from community donations, getting this Resident Evil 4 HD project ready for release. The lucky Capcom's never sent a cease and desist. Nintendo already announced that the Nintendo Switch is halfway through its lifespan. We're on year 5. I tell you, I better get Switch 2 before 2027. Let me tell you. I better get a Switch 2 before 2027, Nintendo. But they are planning to keep the momentum going. Can Nintendo do this for the next 2 or 3 years? Can they continue to shift 20 million units a year? I don't know. It's going to be very hard to keep the momentum going. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, they're going to kick up a notch this year. And next year, they'll be in their stride. I mean, can Nintendo continue to sell 20 million units a year? I don't know. There are a couple of things that Nintendo could do to keep shifting 20 million units a year. The first one is a price reduction. I tell you, bring the price of that Switch OLED down to $279.99. Bring the OG Switch down to bloody, I don't know, $230. Do that. Switch Lite should be what? Switch Lite should be £100. There, I said it. The next thing that they could do to boost sales of Nintendo Switch is bring out Mario Kart 9. Mario Kart 9 is the only game left that Nintendo have that can be a system seller and keep sales of the console going for a year and a half, 18 months, 2 years straight. It's the only game. Nintendo cannot release anything else that would get the public invested in buying Nintendo Switches again now. I tell you, it's not. Maybe a new Mario. Bring a new Mario game out. Where's Mario Odyssey 2? Where's Mario Odyssey 2? And that's all we have time for today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for tuning in and bye. Hello, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like my video today, don't forget to give me a like. If you really like the video, then just subscribe. Yeah, just subscribe. There's a little button there, you just push it. You get a little notification every time a video comes out. Subscribe! Subscribe!